What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Stock Market Recap and Predictions. Man, we had a week in the market, so let's get right to it and talk about what took place in the market this week. So I want to go over three different companies and sectors that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the top performers, the worst performers, and then talk about the outliers that were performing the best this week. So let's get right to it. All right, ladies and gents, here we have the SPY chart loaded up on the 4-hour time frame. So as you guys see, what took place this week, essentially we had an initial sell-off in the market after retesting that 752.5 level. We saw a reversal push back lower, going back below our 748 level. From there, we retested the 744 range, right around 745. We did see a reversal intraday, and then going into the next day on Tuesday, we saw that continuation of a failure, going all the way back down to 740 on Wednesday. We then saw a reversal off 740, pushing back above 752.4. From there, we were able to push higher going into Friday, breaking above that level and closing out the week at 754.8. Man, oh man, what a week of strength, honestly. What that shows me in the market is that it's still resilient, it's still strong, especially after that Wednesday session. We had that strong wick off of that 740 level, pushing us higher back above 752, closing at 754.8. So what are the levels to watch going into this next week? The levels to watch for this next week are going to be between 752.5 and 756. 756.5 is going to be the resistance level, and then 752.5 is going to be our demand. So as long as we're holding above 752.5, we can see continuation higher. If we get a break above 756.5, we can see a push above that level going back into 760. If we break above 760, we can see a continuation higher going into new all-time highs and possibly reaching towards the 765 level, which I think is the next psychological level of resistance. All right, so if we push above 760, I think we can see a push higher going into 765. However, if we fail to hold above 752.5, we can see a push lower going back down to 748. If we fail to hold 748, we can see a push lower going back to 744. And then from there, we pretty much are going back down to 740, where we then can see continuation lower. Our 740 level is that major level of demand that we need to hold above. That's going to be our pivot level to determine whether we're still bullish or bearish. If we flip below 740, we are turning bearish if it holds below that level. But as long as we're holding above 740, we can still see continuation higher into new all-time highs. All right, so another stock I want to talk about is Meta. All right, you guys, here we have the Meta chart loaded up on the 4-hour time frame. As you guys see, we had a strong push higher this week in Meta, closing out the week at 669.39, having a very, very strong gap up after the Thursday session going into Friday. We closed that day on Thursday at 631, pushing higher going into Friday. We opened at 660, so we saw a $30 push higher in Meta just overnight due to some news related to AI. They're creating AI chips and basically having a new product on the market for people to consume. So with them having a new product on the market for people to consume and lowering their cost of expenses for the AI creation, that drove people to the stock on Friday, seeing the push that it saw higher. So what will we need to see take place for Meta to see continuation higher? I'm going to go on the daily chart to show you guys the current levels we've been looking at for Meta. As you guys see, we've been having a lot of weakness and a lot of failure and struggle to get above that 640 level. So here we have 640 failing to go higher. Every time we hit that 640, it was like a ceiling. It would just reverse off that level, pushing lower. Initially, we were pushing towards 600, holding that level for a while. Then we retested 640 again, saw another push lower, breaking 600 and pushing it all the way down to 540. From there, we based out at 540, saw a very strong reversal, leading all the way up back to 669. So for continuation higher, what Meta would need to see happen is a break above 680. If we get a break above 680, we can push closer to 700. From 700, we have room all the way back up to about 740. And I believe there's higher numbers than that. Meta's been beating down for the last few months. So Meta can reach all the way back to all-time highs closer to the 800 level. I believe their all-time high price is somewhere around 800. It's at 796.25. So I believe Meta can see a retracement back to highs. I've been wanting Meta to go higher for the longest. Initially, it was doing well back in April of last year. We had that push higher back to the 796 level. Then from there, we've been seeing a lot of failure. So Meta held that same level once again around that 500 range. Now we need to see it continue. In order for us to see it continue, it needs to break initially above 680, from 680 back above 700, from 700 higher going back to 740, from 740 all the way back up to 800. And then from there, if we break 800, we can see a push higher going back into the $1,000 price range, which will be new all-time highs for Meta. All right, so those are the numbers and the levels that I want to see Meta take place in. The next stock I want to talk about is NVDA. All right, guys, and here we have the NVDA chart loaded up on the 4-hour time frame. This is just another company that was beaten down for the longest, seeing really no growth. We're starting to see a little bit of traction and some movement on the charts. Starting out this week, we were initially in the low 190s and ended out the week. We were able to reclaim 200, breaking above that level, pushing all the way back up to 210. So what we need to see take place for NVIDIA to continue higher? Let's go to the daily chart here and take a look. For NVIDIA, we would need to see a break above this 212 level, 212.5. We get a break above that, I believe we can push higher, going back into 220. From 218, around 218, 219 would be the next level if we break above 212.5. From there, I believe NVIDIA can push all the way back up to the 227 level right here. From there, we can push above that level. We can then see higher, going back into all-time high level of 232 actually, 232.2. And then if we get above that level, I believe we can push all the way into the all-time highs back above this 236.5 level, going into about 240. But it starts with this 212.5 level. Currently, we're sitting close to that level, so if we can break above it, we can see higher. But if we cannot break above it, then it'll be a difficult time in the market for NVIDIA traders. So you guys want to see a 212.2 level break and hold above that to see continuation higher. If we don't see a continuation above that level, we can see a reversal back down to 200. And if we fail 200, we can push all the way back down to this 190 range. So as long as we're holding above 200, I believe we can see higher, but we need to get a break above that 212.2 level to get continuation to new highs. Other than that, you guys, those are the stocks I would say watch this week. We had a few top performers in the market. So the top performers this week for the market, we have Energy, XLE. The top performers in that sector were Diamondback Energy, Occidental Petroleum, and Valero Energy. Each of these companies played a big factor in the overall energy sector's movement this week, seeing a 3.5% growth in the market this week. For the second company, we have XLK, which is the technology sector, seeing a 2.9% return this week. The top movers in that sector was NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Apple. NVIDIA being the biggest one, seeing that push off of 190 that I mentioned. Lastly, we have communication services. That ticker symbol for the ETF is XLC, and the top movers in that sector were Meta, Alphabet, and Netflix, Meta being the biggest one. So those are the sectors that did the best. The ones that did the worst this week, we have materials, ETF, ticker symbol XLB, seeing a negative 2.46% return on the market this week. The worst stocks that performed the worst this week were Solistics, Advance. That was the worst company in the sector. Outside of that, we had healthcare, ticker symbol XLV, seeing a negative 1.17% return this week. Ions being one of the biggest factors to that pullback, another one being Intel Therapeutics and Moderna. That sector that didn't perform the best this week was the consumer discretionary, ticker symbol XLY, seeing a negative 1% to negative 1.5% in the market this week. Overall sector just didn't perform that well. No particular company did the worst. So those are the worst performers. Those are the best performers. I did mention in last week's video, tech and software specifically, seeing a push higher, and surely that's what we saw this week. So I would look to continue to focus on tech and specifically software companies like Microsoft, Meta, Netflix even, to continue seeing them push higher, because I do think that they're undervalued. And yeah, that would be the sector I would say watch, because last week it did have not as good performance compared to this week. It had a little bit better performance. I still think that there's a lot more room for these companies to run higher. Just got to keep your eye on them, look for the right opportunities, the right entry points, and the right exits to get in and out of these plays. So with that being said, comment below your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are bullish on the market this week or you guys bearish. I showed you guys the levels for SPY. I showed you guys the levels for NVDA and Meta. Let me know what you guys are invested in this week. With that being said, I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you guys stay safe, stay blessed. Let me give you guys verse of the week. Psalms chapter 1, verse 6. For the Lord knows the way of righteous, but the way of the wicked will perish. Make sure to keep shining your light. In this world of negativity, this world of energy that's not organic or genuine, don't let negativity, negative energy, negative people around you dim your light or dim your belief in the thing that you're trying to pursue. Keep chasing your dreams, keep pursuing the thing that you're pursuing, keep chasing the thing that God has put on your heart to chase. Be intentional, be grateful, be positive about it, and just keep pushing forward. All things that are meant for you to happen will happen in due time. Just be patient. All right, y'all, one more thing. We need to talk about the earnings reports coming up this week. We have a few interesting companies coming up this week in earnings, so let's talk about it. Here we have the earnings whisper, as you guys see. For Monday, we don't have anything going on too crazy. On Tuesday, we do start to see banks report. Most of all, banks report that morning. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. And then Wednesday, it goes on with a few tech companies. We got ASML, we got BlackRock, we got Johnson & Johnson, PNC Bank, United reporting after hours on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductor. Very, very important report. Pay attention to that. We got GE Aerospace. We got Netflix after hours, United Health Group during the morning. We've got a lot of reports going out this week, so be mindful of that going into this week. Yeah, that would be one thing I would say keep in mind this week is earnings reports. So just be very mindful of that. It's your boy CB. I'll see you guys next week.